Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, if you're just arrived, to the first ever Arabian Travel Market Global Halal Tourism Summit. It's a new feature at this year's show in recognition of the Islamic tourism sector's growing influence. Today, we've already heard from some of the industry's leading experts on halal tourism about its growth potential. In the second session, some of the world's leading halal-friendly destinations are going to share their success strategies with us, what framework they have in place to develop the sector, how they've promoted it, and what the benefit has been to the tourism industry and their wider economies. Here to tell us are three experts from leading halal tourism destinations: Malaysia, Indonesia, and interestingly, a non-Muslim majority country, Japan. So I'd like to introduce them to you. I'll tell you about Faiz in a minute, for those of you that didn't see him from the last panel. But we have here Datuk Musa Youssef, who's the Senior Director, International Promotion Division for Tourism Malaysia. Thank you very much. Sitting next to him, we have Teiko Yamamoto, who's the Director, Middle East for Kyoto City Tourism Office and Kyoto Convention and Visitors Bureau. And in case those of you don't know, Kyoto City is Japan's leader in halal tourism development. And last but not least, we have Rianto Sofyan. He's the head of the team for accelerated development of halal tourism for the Ministry of Tourism Indonesia. Rianto is also the chairman at Indonesia-based Sofyan Hotels. And with this in mind, he's also going to touch on a little bit about the benefits of government collaboration with the private sector in developing halal tourism strategies. And Faiz, who was with us in the first panel, is a co-founder and CEO of TripFez and Salam Standard. He's going to give us a little bit of information about that subject too. Particularly as this week, his company announced a new standard for Muslim-friendly hotels. So I'm going to come and sit with you guys. I'm going to have a little chat. So what I'd really like to do is discuss first with all of you what your halal tourism strategy has been. So I'd like to start with Musa, if I may. First of all, why did you decide to, embark on a halal tourism strategy? How did it come about?
Thank you, Gemma. Actually, if you look at Malaysia, we are predominantly a Muslim country.
Yes.
I will put it here out of my own personal perceptions that we started it, it's not that because we started because this is a halal destination.
Yes,
like
yeah.
That. Because predominantly Malaysia is a Muslim. And we are multi-ethnic, multi-groups, Therefore, I think the government, in a way, that makes sure there's the halal for the Muslims,
yes,
well taken care of. And it was done. There's a ministry or department under the Prime Minister's office that's looking after the halal certification for us. It is not for the foreigners coming in into Malaysia.
Yes, right.
Among us in Malaysia.
It was to get those standards set anyway.
For example, we have a market, wet markets that's totally different, between non-halal and halal food.
Yes.
That kind of thing. And then the kitchen.
Yep.
Separate kitchen.
Exactly, yeah.
Separate cooking facilities. Separate cold rooms. It's a must. All this set by the government.
And that was happening anyway.
It was happening anyway.
The tourism industry has benefited because of these standards.
After because of the Gulf War, I think it was in 1990.
Yep.
We can see the influx of the tourists from this part of the world coming in. And they will say, hey, let's strategize something.
Yep.
Because predominantly the contributors to our arrival in Malaysia is
from
our
So it was Middle East driven, interestingly.
Yes,
Okay.
People coming in. Because I think that time of point, a lot of Middle Eastern will go to Europe, to other part of the world, not so much in that side. So therefore we say, hey, let's strategize because people coming in, we need to get this thing ready.
Yes.
So these are the things, how it started.
Okay, yeah. And then what was the next step then? What kind of framework did you put in place? How did it become a formal kind of strategy?
Okay, by looking at that, then, we look at the ASEAN. ASEAN population about 550 million.
Yes.
And out of that, you can see it's about half of that Muslim.
Yeah.
So by doing that, then this is the other thing we cater to this. Then we can, extend it to others. And by doing so, because we have established our offices, we got 44 stations abroad. For example, in the Middle East, we are one of the first tourism board established our office in the Middle East, together with our airlines at that point of time. And these are the things that the demand, and also we have this. Then we said we need to strategize something that perhaps the ITC, Islamic Tourism
Yes,
Center, was
we just
established.
heard from Mr. Zulkifli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this established help us to look into other parts of the world.
Right.
And these are the
So you
things
did
that
a lot
we-
of research, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
The research will help us a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
And top of the mind destination, we see that from all these parts, especially the Middle East, Malaysia is top of the mind destination.
Yeah.
And we can't take it for granted they are coming to our destination. So we are putting it differently. There are things that, and we are sharing our best practice to our,
Yes.
for example, Japan,
Which is
Korea,
very
and-
important. Yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll come back to that later on. Now, I'd like to just jump to Indonesia first because we're talking about Muslim majority countries first and then Japan afterwards. So could you, you've got a special team for accelerating this industry. So, Rianto, tell us more about that. How did that come about and why?
Okay.
Is the mic on?
Yes.
Yep.
The thing is, for Indonesia, the five main income for the country itself.
Right, okay.
First is the oil and gas, and second one is the coal, and the third one is the crude palm oil.
Right,
Fourth is tourism.
right.
And the fifth is rubber.
So it's one of your top 5 industries.
That's right, top 5
Yeah.
industries.
Yeah.
But the thing is, all the four out of 5, all declining for the past
Oh,
5 years.
right, okay.
The only thing that we are increasing and improving is tourism.
Tourism.
So with that in mind, I think that the government set a target that in 2014 we have 10 million
Yep.
international tourist arrivals. And then we will target it until the 2019, we will have about 20 million.
20 million, yeah. You're 1 year ahead of Dubai
That's
then.
right. So we want to capitalize on our DNA as a Muslim friendly. So and also the booming of halal industry, including the halal tourism industry.
Right.
So that's why we go into this.
And it's interesting because we mentioned in Malaysia, it was the kind of driven by the Middle East market and attracting the Middle East market.
Right.
And I know that since this team has been put in place,
Right.
you've noticed quite a big increase in Middle East travellers, haven't you?
That's right, yes,
Yeah, can you
yeah.
tell us a bit more about the stats behind that?
Yeah, well, actually, we started in 2012.
Right.
And targeting this market. And then we also, we have 4 main pillars in developing this Muslim-friendly destinations and things. The first thing is the government of the commitment of the government itself.
Yeah.
We allocate budget for it and also put initiatives.
Yep.
And the second one is the marketing side.
Right,
We have
yeah,
therefore
which I want to
marketing,
talk about a bit
promotion,
more
right,
later,
and
yeah.
marketing strategy and everything. And the third one is also the most important thing is the product development. So destination and industry development.
Yes, yeah.
And the fourth one is also the most important thing on the services industry is the capacity building. That's for the human resources and the
Right.
community itself
Yeah.
and the industry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've seen your flow chart and your structure is very impressive.
Thank
I've
you.
seen it. So it really is, it's a proper framework, a proper strategy. And I think all the destinations here today have done that, which
That's
proves
right.
that you really have to get those fundamentals right,
Right,
don't you?
right.
So coming on to Japan. So how did this come about in Japan? Obviously you're in Asia where there's a lot of Muslim, travellers within close vicinity. What kind of, put it on the radar and said, right, we're going for this market? And what have been the benefits? Yeah.
As you said, Japan is not Muslim country. It's a non-Muslim destination, but we're marketing towards Muslim countries.
Yes.
First, I think Kyoto City opened our office, in Middle East office, 4 years ago in
Right,
2000.
yeah.
This is the fourth time participating at the Arabian travel market. We need to create 2 parts. One, we need to garner the industry support system in Kyoto. So we do seminars, and we work closely with Kyoto Muslim Association,
Right,
educating hotels and restaurants, all other industry partners that how to welcome Muslim
Right.
guests.
So there's been a lot of education
That's
there.
correct.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then we invite the travel agents from UAE and also
Right.
media to see what Kyoto can offer. Kyoto has a long history, 1,000 years of history. We have many UNESCO World Heritage sites. It's a #1 tourist destination in Japan. So we like to welcome more, being inclusive, not only some different, but we also like to
Right.
welcome Muslim guests.
So was it initially, that again, was it Middle East travellers? It's really interesting that all three destinations seem to have initially, even though they've got Muslim travellers on their doorstep, it seemed to be to get the Middle East market first and foremost. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And so how much of the Middle East market growing for each of you since those strategies have been in place? We'll go along. Could you could tell us, Musa?
Middle East one of the contributing market to in terms of
Yes.
income, and despite the fact that the arrival is not that much, but in terms of per capita expenditure,
Right, per
the
head,
five
yeah.
top countries, spending in Malaysia, all from the Middle East.
Right, so they spend more per head.
Yeah, they spend more than
yeah.
12,000 ringgit, the thing that
Yes.
the length of stay is more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So these are the things that we are looking
And we heard that in
yeah.
Faiz's report.
they mentioned it,
yeah, they spend more than any other
And even
Muslim
on our
travel
side
market.
now, we are not looking at only Middle East.
No, I was going to say it must have developed from there.
China, China 220 million outbound.
Wow.
The
How many are
pop-
Muslim? Yeah.
The Muslim population in China is bigger than Malaysia's total. It's more than 26 billion.
I was going to say,
Muslim.
yeah, it's big.
No, and top of the main destination to this part of the world, to that part of the world, ASEAN is Malaysia.
Yes.
So because we established our relationship much earlier during the Cold War, and they're coming in, and they are very strict even.
Yeah.
In Malaysia we are a bit okay.
You're
we
quite
can,
laid back, yeah.
Yeah, but to them they are very, so we cannot take for granted, for example, the Malaysian way of,
No, no.
because ours is, we consider we are very strict in
Yes.
that part of the region.
Yeah.
But the Chinese one, there are other needs that they want to,
Okay.
Because ours is multi-ethnic. We can adopt some, for example, in Malaysia, you can see seafood run by the Chinese, but it is certified halal. Because halal not only the, slaughtered,
Not
no
just-
pork,
Not just meat.
it is halal and taiban, whereby the process, this is
Oh,
the
right,
process, how
okay.
you clean it up, things like that. It is not only get it slaughtered and no alcohol. So these are the things that, we are putting in there.
So again, you had to research the
Yeah.
Chinese market in
Yeah.
terms of what halal meant to that market. Yeah,
They are
yeah,
even very
interesting.
strict because actually, Islam went to China much earlier than to Malaysia.
Right, okay.
It was there. So these are the things that we have to, sometimes the Malaysians take it for granted. They thought we are
Yes,
the first, then
yeah,
the Chinese. Because that's what the Chinese convert in Malaysia, but that's not the way. So we have to adapt that situation.
Interesting, yeah.
And then we because there's a big market that we're looking at now. So we are expanding not only from the Middle Eastern, but to other parts of the world as well.
Yeah. And any other markets apart from China that you noticed are growing outside of the Middle East in terms of inbound to Malaysia?
Yes,
Muslim
actually
travel
India.
market? India, right, okay. So the big two.
Yeah, India we
yeah.
have into what, the halal one, and then also the vegetarian. We are also learning.
I was going to say different needs again. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Rianto, what are your findings in that respect? So you're still very much targeting the Middle East, but in terms of other Muslim growth markets, what are you witnessing?
Yes, I think we have the same experience as Malaysia.
Right.
In terms of numbers, actually Middle East is not really that big. It's
But
about
spend.
20-50%.
Yeah.
But the spending is, on the average, what we get is about 1,700 per tourist per visit.
Right.
Where on the average we get like 1,100 per tourist per visit.
Okay, yeah.
And also the length of stay is longer.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
But the thing is, in terms of numbers, I think Asia is still the largest.
Sure,
Of
yeah.
course, our neighboring countries from Malaysia is number one, and also India and China. I think we are going to the same market. So Asia is number one, and then second one will be the Europe.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
it's also growing, and we have one of the tourists coming from Europe, even though that we don't really have amenities in West Sumatra, but it's kind of an adventure destination.
Yes, exactly, yeah,
So
yeah.
they visited the beaches called Mande,
Yes,
small
yeah,
island.
yeah.
It's just like Raja Ampat, the most famous right now
Yes.
destination
Yeah.
in Indonesia. And they said even though there is no hotels there, but there is a small hut, local, like a homestay. And they enjoy it because it's just like a Robinson Crusoe.
Yes,
they mentioned.
yeah.
So it's adventurous
Homestays
kind of
are very
like, that's
popular
right,
now,
yes,
aren't they?
yeah.
I know you're doing that as well, aren't you?
Right, yeah.
Homestays, yeah. Interesting. So again, a lot of other growth markets coming
right.
through in terms of numbers, but spend-wise, Middle East is still big.
That's right, yes.
Teiko, what about in Kyoto and wider
Yes.
Japan? Again, what are the trends, and is Middle East still driving it?
Well, allow me to start with Japan. Like
Yes.
last 3 years, the numbers international tourists coming to Japan, last 3 years, it's more than doubled.
Right.
And in 2016, we had almost 24 million visitors came
Wow.
to Japan. We have, like, speaking of 2020, our target is now 40 million visitors.
Wow.
And we are having Tokyo Olympic Games. And so for Kyoto, we think that from last year's statistics, we see that 51% increase from UAE.
Wow.
Like staying at
51%,
least one
yeah.
night.
Yeah.
And also from other Qatar and Saudi, altogether 33% increase.
Okay.
And then this year, even January, February, we still see the 30% increase. So this trend is coming.
So basically, the strategies have paid dividends for all of you. What about in terms of the wider economy, job creation, GDP? Have any of you done studies into how the Muslim tourism sector has benefited the economies or job creation or anything like that? Or is that still to come?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Muslim tourists coming to Indonesia is actually contributes about 20 to 25%.
Right.
And then for the industry itself, the whole industry, I think we need 12 million tourism professionals.
Right.
So I think on top of the generic competency that they need,
Yes.
they also have to have the knowledge of how to serve the Muslim
Yes.
travelers.
Yep, yep.
So that's really contributes a big chunk of the
Sure.
employment.
And that does bring us on to industry education and what each
Right.
of you have done in that respect.
Yes.
I'd like to touch on that and marketing and the public-private sector relationship. So first of all, education. Malaysia, what have you done in terms of ITC's played a big role, I know, in terms of educating the industry about halal tourism market, different needs from different countries, different types of Muslim travellers. What framework do you have in place?
I think in terms of getting the manpower, the capitals, and the manpower to be better on that, basically the associations doing that. You know, we have the Malaysian Hotel Owners Association.
Right, okay,
We
yeah.
have the Malaysia Association of Hotel.
Right.
So by looking at this the statistic, the data that we produce and ITC produce and the rest of the world producing, and they, basically getting the right people to come in.
Yes, yeah.
And for example, we have a direct employment in Malaysia directly to the tourism about more than 2 million.
Right.
And 2 million direct employment into the
Okay,
tourism
so that's,
industry.
yeah, a lot
and by
of
the time
jobs.
currently we have some foreigners coming in working with us.
Yes.
And mostly we are coming in from the Muslim destinations. That
Right,
working.
okay, yeah.
So we don't have that much of a problem in order to educate how to go about.
No, exactly.
Because
yeah.
the system, we have the ISO standard
Yes, yeah.
managed by our standard, Malaysian standard, as well as these are the
I was going to say,
the
you
things
have
that
all
they're
these
looking
things
at.
in
Yes.
place, yeah, so
Yeah.
it's very well structured. But not everybody does, which is why we want to learn from destinations like Malaysia, yeah. What about, you guys?
Yes,
What do you have in place in terms of education for the industry to,
Yes,
know?
of course, in hospitality.
Was it hard to get people on board at first? Were they not quite sure what to
No,
do?
actually, Kyoto is very international.
Right,
And they've
yeah.
seen actually so many more increase, especially also from Southeast Asia as
Right,
well.
yeah.
So,
I guess you guys swap a lot of travellers between you.
yes. Actually, one of the Kyoto hotels, they get the certificate, halal certificate from Malaysia. also,
Yes,
which
yeah,
is-
yeah,
And
yeah.
but we try to do that also in the city. So
Yes.
Kyoto Muslim Association giving the local halal certificate, and so like they give the industry the training. Also, I see the new trend, like even like Kyoto has many traditional crafts industry. So like a Nishijin tapestry, for example, that has a long history, centuries. They making now like a tapestry, making the prayer mats for Muslim guests. So these prayer mats are placed in like prayer spaces throughout the city. Also like in some hotels carry that the prayer mats.
Yes, yeah.
That's and also like educating back to the Muslim tourists that Japan, we have like something beautiful to connect
And would
to
you
them.
say that one of the most important things we talked about in the last session was getting industry buy-in, so everybody's on board, with the same agenda, they know, what the goals are, and they're educated, and you've got standards in place. Is that very important?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
I can interject here a bit.
Yeah.
You see, when Japan, they introduced this halal, they came to Malaysia, they learned.
Yes.
Our authority helped Marriott Tokyo to develop their halal certification. You see, and then because of one of the reasons also they lifted their visas. Malaysia become Malaysian, getting to the middle class affluent. They are now the second largest contributor to the arrival to Japan. 58.4% increase.
Yes. Wow.
Anak start flying to Malaysia again, increasing their flight.
But
Because
just
of
because
this.
you've provided the framework
Because
again,
the
they
Malaysian
trust
nephew,
it.
they go there, they can eat. Previously, they cannot eat Kobe beef because it wasn't
Yes,
there.
yeah.
Now it is free. They can see things, now. And
Now,
it will
yes.
get people to travel all over the world.
Because
No.
people want to experience
Yeah.
the cuisine. It's actually, cuisine is very important on food front, isn't it? You want to go to Japan
Yes.
and have Japanese foods.
That's right. And many
not
like
be
I
worried
have
that it's not
I have
halal or not.
This old kaiseki style restaurant.
Yes.
They have the 300-year history, and they have they started doing 4 years ago serving a kaiseki but halal.
I saw that.
So the
yeah.
300-year-old restaurant in Kyoto. We try to welcome Muslim
Yeah,
guests.
so
doing
it just
what they
shows you,
can.
that
Yes,
everybody's embracing it, yeah.
I give you an example of about, we were, most Malaysian, we are studying in the States.
Yeah.
Way back in the 80s. When for us, a group when we travel, sometimes we had our, praying time.
Yeah.
We stop at a petrol pump.
Yes.
Some of us during winter, people will come, they were wondering why these 10 people queuing, facing somewhere, in the middle or next to their petrol pump, and they start calling the police. Yes, and these are the things that, and for us Malaysian, when we travel, we pack everything because we are not sure whether we can get halal food, for example.
No.
And now it's okay,
You bring your kitchen with you, yeah.
So these are the things that I'm telling you. I think all our friends in Japan, as well as
For a
Korea.
Muslim destination like Japan, it's very important to provide the information
Yes.
available for
Yeah.
travelers. So Kyoto has a website for Muslim travelers
Right,
in
yeah.
4 different languages,
Yeah.
Including Arabic and the Malay language
Yeah.
and Turkish. And that's being updated, and they also give hotels and the restaurants.
Yes,
and
it's very
everything.
important.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about marketing and promotion information in a minute, and then where other players come in. But just quickly, can you tell us about back to coming, about educating the industry and getting everyone on board what you've done in Malaysia? I'm sorry, in Indonesia. Sorry.
Okay. The Ministry of Tourism of Indonesia established 4 tourism universities.
A tourism,
specific,
right? Okay,
tourism
natural university, fantastic. Yeah.
And right now, because the first important things before starting the education is the standard of the industry itself.
Yes.
Right. So we set up the standard, and then it's also it is authorized by the law
Yep.
of tourism that the Ministry of Tourism is the one who's setting the standard, but also involving all the stakeholders, all the industry players, also the academician, the communities and everything.
Yeah.
So after setting the standard itself, when this Muslim-friendly, family-friendly tourism has been developed, so in that 4 university under the Ministry of Tourism, we form a special faculty for that.
Right.
So we also have the standard competency
Right.
for the halal hospitality professionals.
Right. So it's actually, you can
That's
study
right.
it
That's
now.
right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
And do you think in this respect, you've all got a great framework in place. Do you think that then one of the most important things is that travellers trust you?
Yes.
They know that when they go to either one of your destinations, they know what they're getting, it's been certified. They don't have to worry about it. Do you think that's,
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Now, I'd like to come on to how you've all marketed this, because it's all very well doing these things, but how do we let, the Muslim traveller population know that we're doing these things? How do you get the message across? So again, I'd like to ask each and every one of you how you've done that, and then we'll kind of talk about the private sector side of things as well, and why it's important to work together on that promotion. So starting with Malaysia again, how have you got the message out to key markets?
Alhamdulillah, actually, when it comes to Malaysia, we have got a lot of accolades from, for example, Crescent Rating in Singapore.
Yes.
And there was a lot of certification. We got the accolades, coming from independent authority
Right.
doing the rating in Malaysia.
Right.
So we got, for example, MasterCard.
Yes,
And we have
yeah.
a study done by some other agencies looking at during Ramadan, which part of the world.
Oh, that's
So
right, yeah,
Malaysia,
yeah.
you know, so these studies by independent auditors and the rest help us to put all this, you know. Sometimes if we are telling it on our own, you know, they say, yeah, you can tell whatever thing, especially
Yeah.
we are tourism board, you know. But we got others, they're doing it and it is independently done.
Yeah.
And to us, that are the thing that trip advisors, for example, done that, you know.
Right, yeah, yeah.
These are the issue, the thing that helping us to tell the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Malaysia is there. But for example, today, if if you go to Japan, to Korea, and some other part, Taiwan, you can see a lot of Muslim brochures.
Right, yeah.
You know, halal restaurant here and there. I even collected it myself because
Yes,
I'm traveling
yeah.
to that part of the world.
You're like,
And
"Oh,
it's
I'll go
helping
there."
us, you know.
Yeah. And what about in Japan?
Yes,
How have you promoted it?
Kyoto City have 10 overseas offices
Right,
around
yeah.
the world. Actually, we just opened in Malaysia as
Yeah.
well. So we do public relations. We send out the press releases about what's happening. Also, we invite the media and the travel agents coming to visit Kyoto. Those are the main activities we do as a
And what about social media campaigns? Has we had anything like that you've done? That's...
Actually, we just created nice, how do you say, changed our website a few years ago, Kyoto.travel. So it's connected also as a trip advisor. So
Right.
people can come visit the website.
So
get all
TripAdvisor
the-
seems quite important.
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
so, even for anyone else.
Yeah, interesting. And what about in Indonesia?
Okay. I think the first thing that you have to do is to increase the awareness.
Yes.
Right? And by increasing the awareness, I think we're focusing on the top 5
Yes.
destinations that we promote. The top 5 will be the Lombok, and then West Sumatra, and then Aceh, and the other one is Jakarta and also West
Yes,
Java.
yeah, yeah.
And on top of that is also we really doing the promotion and participate in international events, and such as in 2015 we have achieved to get the awards as the world best halal tourism
Yes,
destination
yeah.
in the Lombok, and then Lombok also the world
Do we
best
like
halal.
awards? Do we think awards
Yes,
are a
yeah,
good
to
thing?
awards,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that's one of the things, and also
Not all the media like them, you see, because there's a lot of awards around these days.
That's right. But also the Crescent rating, also
Yes, yep,
rating
yep.
us on the ratings of the Indonesia as halal.
Yeah. And what do we think of things like Salam Standard that Faiz does? Faiz, just very quickly, tell us about Salam Standard and what...
I think for us, we work closely with hotels as
Yeah.
well as DMO, destination
So just so you know,
management.
Faiz Salam Standard rates the hotels according to their Muslim facilities. That's basically it in a nutshell. Yeah. And yeah, so how do you kind of promote that?
I think for me, like if you as a destination, if you want to make yourself more Muslim friendly, you always need like buy-in from the private sector or the stakeholders, the relevant stakeholders, such as the hotels. I mean, you can't have let's say the destination wanting to make themselves Muslim friendly, but then the hotels don't want to buy in the whole idea.
Exactly,
So I think it's very important to have the buy-in of every single stakeholder. I think Japan did a very amazing job. You have praying facilities at different airports in Japan. And I think it's very interesting that how they've actually promoted themselves as very Muslim. Malaysia, for example, when they released the standard Malaysian hotel standard, so they actually took in the buy-in from all the stakeholders, whether be it the Malaysian tour association, the hotel association, the budget hotel association,
Yeah.
the religious department, because
Everybody
I think
was involved.
everybody was
Yeah,
involved. Then
yeah.
at the end of the day, you can't say, well, I don't want to do this because your representative was actually in
Yeah.
the board making the decision. And I think it's very important to have the whole stakeholder, because otherwise you'll have a decision that's just from the top
Yes, yeah.
and not going down. So it won't reach the whole...
Everybody's got to be part
Yeah,
of it. and
everybody has to
agree
be
with
part
it.
of
Yeah,
it. So I think
yeah.
that's where as Salam said, we work very closely with the destination, the hotels, in order that they have align the same goal to actually make the whole destination, the hotels, as well to make them more Muslim friendly or cater for this specific
So it's a
market.
holistic approach.
Holistic approach, yeah.
And Rianto, I mean, you're chairman of the hotel company as well.
Right, yes.
So obviously you've got a great position where, you know, you're representing both sides. You know exactly what both want. So how has that benefited the industry, you know, that public-private partnership going on?
Yeah, I think as a industry player, I don't think you have a limited capabilities in promoting yourself.
Yes.
But if it's supported by the government, I think it would be a great thing for us. And one of the things is also we can we've been supported by the government, by the Minister of Tourism, in doing like travel mart or sales missions, and also road shows and things like that. And other thing is also the ministry is also supporting on developing the ITX, the Indonesia Travel Exchange. It's a digital marketplace. Because that's the most important thing right now, and it can facilitate B2B and B2C transaction. It's not only promotion, but also you look and you book and then you pay.
Right, yeah.
So that's also the most important thing.
Yeah.
That's supported by the government.
So again, it's a collaboration for the benefit of
yes,
everybody.
yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
And the other thing is we have a digital marketplace called the Halal Travel Alliance.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's
The Halal Travel Alliance, yeah?
Halal Travel
And
Alliance.
how does that work?
Because you see, on this industry players for the cater that Muslim travelers, sometimes it scatters all over the world.
Right.
Yeah, so when a travel agent wants to do the package, sometimes they're very hard to find which hotel that's really friendly to the Muslim needs, right? So with this Halal Travel Alliance digital marketplace, I think they really can easily find, because one of the things that the industry has done in 2015. Only 1 year they have the members about 1,400, 589, and then they have like about 14,000 packages of Muslim friendly. So that kind of things you cannot really find in Travel Mart and things like that. But this digital marketplace, and it's pretty easy to do.
And again, the reviews are important as well.
That's right. Yes.
Because then people go to those sites and glean their information from there.
Uh-huh.
Right. We're going to have to wrap up soon, but we can take one question, maybe two from the floor. Who's got one? Can we grab a mic, please, quickly? If you could say your name and who you represent, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Asad. I'm a travel blogger. I understand that elements of halal certification is more or less same for most of the countries. But should there be, my question is for Faiz, should there be an international standard to define not only the halal certification, the elements of halal certification, but also halal friendly hotels and destination? The reason is I had one experience in Sri Lanka in which one of the well-known hotel, they claim that they are halal friendly. But I later on found that yes, the kitchen had, in the kitchen, there are halal food available, but they didn't realize that they need to separate the utensils between the pork, and that's what I observed.
That's what you do, isn't it?
I think that's a very interesting question, but I think the problem to that is that when you move, I mean, let's say the religion itself has infused a lot with the culture of the place. So the definition of halal from different places is a little bit different to different places when you jump over. So for example, in Malaysia, a specific hotel, I mean, you only have 2,000 premises in the whole entire of Malaysia which are certified halal. Not to say that the others are not halal, but they're not certified halal. That's because, see, in Malaysia, the definition of halal is that you cannot have alcohol, let's say in the hotel, you cannot have alcohol at that specific restaurant. The moment you have alcohol there, it's considered that the place is not halal. Whereas in other destinations, let's say in the UK, I was at one of the hotels there, you have the halal sausage next to the bacon. Yet the people there accept it as actually it's halal.
Too close.
So it depends. It's very hard to find that specific universal definition of halal itself. So I think it's, if you can't consensusly agree on food, it will be very hard when it comes to, let's say, premises as well as traveling.
But using pork in the kitchen, this is something very basic. So if there's an international standard available, even for the halal-friendly hotels or destination, that will bring more confidence in the people. Isn't that the case?
Well, I guess Malaysia's got it, so
that's
it
why I
would be
was,
something you
mentioning
could.
this
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
In Malaysia, it is not because of tourism. We separate the kitchen, we separate everything.
Just do
but
it,
because
yeah.
of the people in Malaysia. You know, we had 50% Muslim. The other 50% is mix of, the Chinese, the Indian. Some is vegetarian. Some, they are not Muslim, but they are vegetarian. Some is Chinese with the pork. So it starts from the wet kitchen. The market. We have a totally non-halal market. It's a separate market, And a kitchen, for example, one big 5-star hotel in Malaysia, I'm talking about 25 years ago or 30 years ago, was fined by the government because they didn't separate the freezer, the cold room. Because you have to have all things separate.
Yeah.
This is in Malaysia. And because of that, our certification is basically recognized worldwide.
Yeah.
And these are the things. But if in a hotel you have a liquor, it is not halal like what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that's why the liquor is not run by the hotel management. It is outsourced to a company running that particular thing. It is not part of their account.
So if you go to Malaysia, it's very interesting. So if let's say an international hotel, usually they'll have liquor, they will have alcohol available. So when you order it, someone's going to go outside to a different place and going to come in with the alcohol. It's a
Right,
completely
okay,
different
yeah,
cup.
yeah.
So they come up from
Totally
different
different.
destinations. So it makes the specific restaurant still halal, but at the same time they can still serve other beverages, alcoholic beverages.
Yeah. So there's probably still a bit of work to be
Even
done
I
there on
heard
an
just now,
international perspective.
Just
Yeah.
now, Zul's mentioning about the airlines.
Yes, yes.
The airlines, that's why some airlines having this disposable glass.
Yes.
You have liquor,
Yeah,
disposable.
that's true,
Because if you use the normal glass, you do not know how to clean it up, things like that. So this is what some airlines do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
I just want to add something
Yeah, sure.
about this. In Indonesia is the same as Malaysia. I mean, we have the standards also. A standard for the restaurant, standard for the hotels, standard for the spa, even karaoke. Karaoke.
Karaoke? Do you
Right.
have halal karaoke?
Yes.
Fantastic.
So,
That sounds good.
But the other thing is, when we want to apply this concept to the non-Muslim majority countries, I think what like Singapore has done, at least they have to have like halal kitchen. They can serve alcohol in the restaurant, but they have to have the halal kitchen where everything is separated. But the thing is, for the world standard, the OIC has a certain body they call SMIC, the Standard Methodology of Islamic Countries.
Okay.
So that they're working on it. What they have done is only for the halal food and products. They have several technical committees. We are part of the members of the SMIC itself. So I think later on they will set the standard. I will probably guess that there will be a several standard according to the majority Muslim countries, non-Muslim majority countries, and the one that is applying the Sharia compliance for the whole countries.
Right,
So there are
okay.
3 categories, I think. Yes.
Yeah,
If
thank
I
you.
may, for Kyoto,
Right,
we have
very
a-
quick, because we've got to wrap up now. We've got the next
we
session.
have a
Yeah.
halal, Muslim-friendly, pork-free. So
Right.
we're just giving the
So
honest
segmenting it
information.
helps.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
no, I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, please give our panelists a very big round of applause. Thank you.